Hey guys, welcome back to wemetatacme. I'm so excited to be here with Myles and Carter, two of the founders of Cerca. How's it going?
It's going great. Thank you
Very
so
well.
much for having us.
Thanks for being here. So, before we get into anything, we always start with the same question, which is what is your favorite romantic gesture? So, this is for someone to do for you.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a hard ask, but I think simply just laughing at my jokes and laughing at me or with me. I
Hmm.
think that anyone that can laugh together goes a long way. I think a lot of the rest of a relationship can figure itself out if you keep it light.
That's nice.
And I think for me, the biggest thing is listening. So it's the little things.
Hmm.
So, for example, it's for me, it's like if I'm remembering her favorite flowers or how she likes her coffee, similar to
You
little
want
things.
her to remember that stuff
Yeah,
about you
just the
too.
little things.
I love that. And you guys are babies, which is crazy. You're 22, Carter,
Yeah.
and you're 23,
Yeah.
Myles. And we have to ask because, we're very into this on this podcast. When are your birthdays?
I'm an Aries, so March 26th. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
A proud Aries.
Uh-huh.
I'm Aquarius, and it's on February 11th.
Love it. Love it. Okay. Great signs. Great signs. Well, Aquarius,
I saw.
tough. Yeah, yeah, yeah. A little tough to date, but honestly, a mature Aquarius can't be stopped. So, and you're already mature because you're starting your own thing young. So, you're in a good place. You're in a
I
good
think
place.
so.
What are your relationship statuses at the moment?
Very single.
Mm-hmm.
Single as well.
And is that a conscious choice or are you kind of longing for something serious?
Yeah, it's funny because starting a dating app, everyone asks, "Are you on the app?
Mm-hmm.
Are you single? Can you be in a relationship?" But no, it's not. It's not something that I'm not planning on being single. But sort of why we created the app is just because of what's out there and the inability to sort of match on these apps. And we just graduated college, so it is a shift. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, it's like I had a very rough first relationship where I was cheated on, and it was
Oh,
kind of
sorry.
difficult.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of swore myself off being in a relationship and just trying to figure out who I am and just loving me for me. And so the last like couple months, I've been back in the field and going on dates and seeing like what fits and what works. But
Yeah. You know what? It's a rite of passage. I was cheated on too in my first relationship, and it really makes you more discerning in the future and like choose a better partner. I really do believe that because you know when something feels off,
yeah,
So it's better that it happens earlier than it happens later on.
yeah. I mean, I was 18 and I had no
Right.
idea what actually the idea of being in a relationship was, or what
Mm-hmm.
love was, or how to feel in a
Yeah.
relationship. So it was a big learning curve.
Is
But
it something that you will tell someone when you're newly dating, like that had happened to you in the past, or do you kind of keep it to yourself?
not at first,
Mm-hmm.
not at first. But I think one of the biggest things for me is trust when it
Yeah.
comes to relationships. And there wasn't a lot of that in the first relationship, so I
Yeah.
take that very, very heavily as like, biggest thing's lying and very anti that. So
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I saw a TikTok recently of a mom with her son, like around my age, and she was like just doing our nightly affirmations or whatever. And she said to her son, she's like, if you cheat on your girlfriend, I will tell her.
that's
And I
funny.
was like, mm-hmm, I agree with that. Okay, so you guys are single, you graduate from college, and you're thinking about what's wrong or missing in the dating app market. What were you hating about dating apps in college? Because I didn't have dating apps in college.
Yeah, and honestly, everything. Like, I mean, it was a bigger issue when we were home during the summers back in New York. We're both from New York. But it's funny. I think our generation, maybe 5 years ago, we were still using a lot of the apps and giving them a chance. I think as we've seen over time, people are just completely giving up. I can't name a single friend, and this is sort of where the idea came from, who was actually using a dating app to try to find someone. It was always for the wrong reasons. No one actually hopped on, a Hinge or a Tinder and actually expected to really meet someone. So like that's really where it started. I mean, my parents way back in New York City met at a bar as strangers. My dad after hockey practice. This bar no longer exists, but my dad after hockey practice arrived at a bar on the Upper West Side and saw my mom. Went up to her verbatim, said, "What's your deal?" And we were joking about that at a dinner with a bunch of my high school friends. And we were just like, that's not how people think they're going to meet their next significant other anymore.
Right.
It's like really the exact opposite, right? It's no longer that stranger at the bar, but it's some sort of mutual friend of a friend. So that's really where the idea started, is that, you know, these massive dating apps target strangers, and, you know, the average person from 18 to 40, really Gen Z and millennials, no longer think that their next significant other is that stranger, right? It's, like I said, that mutual. So that's what we tried to originally attack with the idea.
Yeah, it's so interesting because you guys definitely don't remember this, but when Hinge first came out, it was mutual friends.
Yep.
And everyone was obsessed with that because, you know, I think Tinder came before and it wasn't that way. And so there was stranger danger. But when Hinge first came out, it was you had to have one mutual Facebook friend in
Yeah, it was
common.
through Facebook.
And this was obviously when Facebook was actually being used.
Yeah.
And it was amazing because you call the mutual and you're like, what's Kevin's deal? Like, you're the
Totally, yeah.
mutual. And it was great. So how is Cerca similar to that kind of energy? Because Facebook is, you know,
Yeah.
a thing
So
of the
it's
past.
sort of, it's funny, and we've addressed this, and this has come up a bunch. We have our sort of Gen Z spin on all of that, right? Where, yes, it's the same sort of mutual component. How we do it is it's through your phone book as opposed to Facebook. So we're fetching all of your contacts and your contacts' contacts. So every appearing profile shows the mutuals that you have in common, both on the app and, of course, equally important, off the app, to show people in relationships. And I'll get into how the app actually looks and how we run that. But yeah, it uses that mutual component. There's a couple of different ways how we're different. We really tried to Instagramize the dating space, right? So I think that a lot of people don't like DMing anymore. Some it works, some it doesn't. And some people in Gen Z, and this is a really important stat, it's like 90% of people in Gen Z fear rejection. So for women, that's simply not wanting to make the first move. And for men, that's simply not knowing how. And I think social media has played a big factor in that. But the way we combat that is through an all anonymous liking system. So that's the really different way that we have it than any other of the big apps, where you can pay to see who likes you, or you already can see who likes you, right? Because they typically are strangers. For us, we want you to be hidden behind that sort of cover of comfort. And only when you match with the other person do you see who that person is on the other side.
But do you see their mutuals, your
Exactly.
mutuals before that?
Exactly. So running you through that action, when a profile appears, in fact, it doesn't even show the pictures at first, because that's another thing we're trying to combat. The typical dating apps show you pictures immediately. This could be any stranger. This could be a catfish, etc. If you find them attractive, yes. If you don't find them attractive, probably no, right? And you swipe on, and you can go through 100 profiles a minute. For us, it shows you the mutuals first when a profile appears, and then it goes into where you're from, your background, your prompts, and then last is the actual images of the person. So it's a longer process. We really want you to see the mutuals first. Oftentimes, seeing a mutual friend, you're more likely to go off the app, text them because your profile doesn't go away, ask, should I like this person, etc.
But what information do you have about the person if you can't really see anything?
So you can see everything
Uh-huh.
once you go through the mutuals, their name, where they're living, their prompts, etc., and then the photos, and then it stops.
Uh-huh.
And it just shows you the full profile.
I
Think
see.
about it as like a walkthrough
Yeah,
of
yeah,
someone
yeah.
up until the photos. And then, yeah, so let's say you go off the app and text a friend. That profile is still there when you get back. So you can go and make your decision after calling up a friend
Yeah.
if you want to like them, if your friend says go for it.
What do you do? Yeah, no, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna also add back to the point that you made on your very first podcast is women are like scared to make the first move.
Yeah.
And I think there's been this, as he's talked about, the like fear of rejection, especially because of these dating apps. And one of the coolest things about the app too is through the search feature, you can literally go on and shoot your shot in silence per se.
Mm-hmm.
So you can search up a contact or whoever might be on the app through your friends or through your mutuals, and you can push your profile to theirs. So based on the one of the 4 profiles that they'll see within that given day, you can push yourself for them to see you.
Do they know that you've pushed?
No.
So yeah, that's the whole
Oh.
thing, is
Mhm.
that the anonymous liking is there on the guy side just because a lot of people just don't know how to make that first move anymore. Like, what are you saying in that DM? What are you saying in that Hinge response, right?
Mhm.
You're asking your friend, like, how do I do this, right? And then on the female side, it's just simply not wanting to be seen making that first move. So just to clarify, let's say I go and I like Jessica's profile. Jessica receives a notification saying a mutual has liked your profile.
Mm-hmm.
My profile is then discreetly boosted to where Jessica may see my profile the next time she opens up the app. If she doesn't like me back, I don't even know I got rejected. If she does like me back, as opposed to the match dropping instantly where she would know I made the first move. All matches drop at 8 p.m. Eastern. So you're getting rid of the fear of rejection. You don't even know if you got rejected, and no one knows who made the first move.
So you're like gentle parenting Gen Z.
Literally, and that's what it takes. Like I'm a huge fan of Scott Galloway.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really like dating apps, and obviously we try to attack a lot of his issues, and that's what I think where my idea stemmed from. But like celibacy rates are at an all-time high in Gen Z, but in general in the country, and that's not by choice, right? People are too busy to only meet in person, and you need a way to meet on your phone. And our generation is just simply not using the traditional apps. So that's really where the idea stems from.
What do we do about red flag mutuals? You know what I'm talking about? How
Totally.
you have like that one mutual, and it's like a Coke dealer from Vegas. Like, and you're
Block
like,
those
oh
contacts.
God, like,
Yeah.
What you say?
You can block them.
Yeah.
So,
But you know what I mean? Because then what if that person is your wife, but like your
Look, I was
mutual is
about to
the
say,
Coke dealer from Vegas?
who
Like,
knows, right? Like that. So maybe the mutual needs to be the drug dealer.
Yeah.
But if that's not the case, you can block any contacts you want before you even onboard. Mom, dad, any sort of handyman, all of that is blocked out. If there's an ex you don't want in your network on Cerca, you can also block them within the app. So we're just trying to curate the safest space and most comfortable space possible.
yeah. Okay. Tell me a little bit about dating in the city. Like, forget about the apps for a second. Just like, how is it? Because I remember when I first graduated from college, there was an endless supply of people because everyone was single. Everyone was like fresh into the city. There were 3 places that everyone went out. It was like Finale, like this, like
Acme.
Gilded Lily, or I don't even remember these places. Acme, exactly. So what is that today?
I mean, I think I was at USC, so I was in California, so I was
Right.
dating a lot there or going on dates, and a lot of it felt somewhat superficial to some degree. Whereas if you ask me in 2 months after being back in New York, I can let you know how it is here in the city specifically.
I think though, like the average person our age getting out of school, a lot more people are in relationships and like serious relationships. I think of like my friend groups both in high school and in college, and like neighboring friend groups, and most people are either in long-term relationships or starting new relationships. It's interesting because I feel like my parents' generation, my mom married my dad essentially right out of school. My dad was 7 years older. My mom went to Tulane, and they met her last semester after, like, while she was back in New York. And it I think the average person wasn't probably jumping into something serious back then. Even now, I think someone you look at people like, I'm curious on your end, like, were most of your friends in serious relationships?
Not really. There were only like the college sweetheart people that were in relationships. And some of those crashed and burned, and some worked out, but it was probably only like 1 or 2 people in our friend group who were in relationships. It wasn't a common thing, but I have 2 Gen Z cousins, and they're both smoke show girls. They're a little older than you, but like, I'd set it up if we'll discuss after. But neither of them are in relationships. I guess one had one in college, but that's it. And it's odd to me because I feel like there's such great catches, and like, I'm feeling like the opposite of what you said. Like, I feel like none of these Gen Z people are in relationships.
That's interesting. And yeah, I think it's a mix. Like, to answer your city question, like, my best date experiences typically stem, obviously through mutuals, but like typically are at those one-off places. It's not a night out at one of these places, like 4 or 5 clubs or bars that everyone's at, where you're running into someone and then it becomes something more serious. So I think truly, I think that people are going out with their friends just to sort of be with their friends. Yes, they're hoping the back end that they're going to meet someone.
Right.
But I think that the dynamic is very different in terms of going out in New York City nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that a lot. I think it's a lot of people go out in their little cohorts and decide to kind of just stay within their group, or they bring their friends, and that's the only way that they meet or talk to each other. And they don't have as much drive, especially like it was, I don't know, 20 years ago, to actually go and talk to people.
Right. Do you feel like these member clubs have ruined dating?
Doesn't help. It definitely doesn't help.
Yeah.
Like, I think that, funny, I think that the most successful dating app, at least from what I've heard recently, is probably Raya. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that Raya, in a lot of ways, does have similar features to a Soho House, right? Where there's that pay to play element. And maybe the concept is good because there's that vetting process, and you maybe have to be a certain type of person, but it really doesn't work, right? I think that maybe short term it does, but the whole concept of pay to play, and you've seen that even worse on a Tinder or a Hinge, where 95% of their paying users are men. Men need to pay to basically have their profile seen at all by women. It's a little bit of a different model. But I think that completely disrupts the space because everyone's chasing monetarily, right, to find that woman, and it doesn't work. It's not healthy. It really disrupts the space, both in real life and on the apps.
Also,
Yeah.
to add on the Raya point, I saw like an Instagram reel the other day of some guy said I added a picture of me on a private jet, and my Raya's been going crazy.
I hate that
Like, that's
so
the
much.
worst.
That's not how it like that's not
It's
how
also
dating
why I
should
hate
be.
Raya. Yeah.
And then you see the other side of Raya where it's like, oh my God, they let him on, right? Because like
Yeah.
people think that Raya's getting a little bit desperate. It doesn't work.
No.
And there needs to be a change.
Yeah, it's funny the Soho House comparison because that's exactly how I feel because Soho House will let anyone in,
Anyone.
as will Raya. So it's
Anyone.
not special anymore by any means. What is a typical weekend? Like, walk me through a typical weekend for you guys. Like, what's on tap for this coming weekend, let's say?
So I'm very spontaneous. Never really exactly know what we're doing, but there's always if it's not working, it's probably seeing friends that I haven't seen all week because we've been busy doing whatever. But something that we love doing is just going to the Garret, which is one of my favorite places, hands down, and just talking to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if I'm wearing the Cerca hat, just going and seeing groups of women who are just by themselves and whatever. And just
Yeah, you have a really good icebreaker.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so
you guys like dating?
it's a good mix. When I'm in the city, I live Upper West, so probably running along the park. I like biking down to Battery Park. Thatcher, who's our partner, Thatcher Schultz, is part of Rocco Sports Bar. So sometimes meeting a lot of friends there, especially if there's a game on or something like that. This weekend, my big plan is probably on Sunday. I'm going to the one in Brooklyn. One of my favorite DJs,
Who?
Fallberg.
Okay.
He's a little smaller, but a European guy. I love his music. Campbell, who's over there and part of our team, will also be there along with a bunch of our friends.
Very cool. I love that hotel. We've
It's
done a
great.
few events there.
They started throwing, the venues on top are awesome.
Yeah, amazing. Okay. We're gonna do some fun rapid fire questions, and then we're gonna go back to real questions. You have to choose Tinder or Hinge.
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 Okay. Make the first move or wait?
Make the first move.
That's what I'm talking about. Date night, dive bar or rooftop?
Dive bar.
Rooftop.
Text back immediately or wait 3 hours?
If I like them, text back immediately.
Wait 3 hours.
Why?
Well, it depends on the person. If
If you like them.
this is the issue. If I like them right away, but typically on these apps or in general, if someone is taking 3 or 4 days to respond to me,
Yeah.
I'm not going to take 3 or 4 days, but I'm going to take a second to gather myself. That's the issue with these apps, right? Is like, look, my best dates on these apps have been because I've seen a mutual in the picture of one of the profiles, and I say, like, tell blank, I say hi, right? Because then that friend then goes back, or I see the mutuals on Instagram. But otherwise, it's always a 2 or 3 day response, right? They text you back at 5 p.m. on a Friday,
So
and
annoying.
looking for a plan, looking for them to be taken somewhere.
But
And
that's
yeah,
an age thing, I
Yeah,
think. I
so-
mean, once you're older on the apps.
yes, obviously, if I care about them right away.
Yeah. What's the most surprising place that you flirted with someone?
Central Park Zoo.
Huh.
Yeah, that's probably it. I was there last month.
Yeah, why
with a
did you
friend.
go there?
I used to go there all the time with my family and my friend who used to live right next to me. We used to go there, and we just said, "Fuck it, let's go back."
That's so. Were you high?
Yeah, it was high. As fuck.
I'm like, I need an excuse here.
Of course.
I'm trying to think. The weirdest place that I've ever flirted with someone, I have no idea. I'm not like,
Like a bodega, a plane.
definitely a plane. I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's not that weird to
That's
flirt on a
definitely
plane.
not weird.
Yeah,
Because if
no.
you're seated right next to them,
Right,
and,
you
like,
have
guys
to.
have- it's a good conversation. Then
You got to.
yeah,
What's the worst DM you've received?
at 2 a.m. DM saying where you at.
Yeah,
It's not
Yeah,
the worst.
it's not the
but
worst.
It's just kind of like a
yeah.
like
Yeah, probably a very late night DM like that, or something even weirder, like, you know, if you don't go out with. It's probably been since Circa. There's been a lot of weird DMs coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some funnier. I wouldn't say weird. Like, I'm downloading Hinge if you don't match with me on Circa, or
Mm-hmm.
and something like that.
Mm-hmm. What's the most underrated dating feature on any app?
Outside of Circa,
Yeah.
probably just because they're terrible. On Hinge, I do like the favorites feature.
Mm.
Or like you can see who liked you before.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, let's answer some prompts. Are there prompts on Circa?
There are.
Okay. Do you remember any by heart? If not, I'll just throw some at you.
Let's do some.
Okay.
Yeah.
A fact about me that surprises people.
I speak fluent French.
Hmm. Is that a Toronto thing?
No, I just went to French immersion school, so
Right,
grew
right,
up-
right.
I didn't learn how to like actually read and write in English until
Yeah.
third grade.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of my curriculum was just French, and I left before the actual English classes
Mhm.
started. So,
You say something.
salut, je m'appelle Carter.
What does that mean?
Hello, my name's Carter.
Oh. Est-ce que je peux aller aux toilettes, s'il vous plaît?
Ouais, bien sûr. La clé, c'est là-bas.
That's literally all I remember from my French class. Can I go to the bathroom, please?
My sister's the same way. She's been taking French for 8 years, but
A fact about you that
I would have
surprises
said
people.
Spanish, but to not be boring. I'm fluent in Spanish, but to not be boring. I till I was 18 would fly across the country to ski, basically, essentially professionally at a junior level.
Wait, to see a what
To
professional?
ski.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Where across the country?
Like
anywhere?
Jackson,
Yeah,
anywhere. But
yeah.
my main mountain, I used to go up to Vermont most weekends, with my family.
Did you go abroad in Spain?
I did. That
Okay.
was the best time.
That's
of
how
my
you
life.
learned to be
Yeah.
fluent?
Yeah, well, no, well, as a kid during the weekdays, I would play soccer in New York,
Mhm.
and I was the only white kid on my team, so everyone else didn't speak English.
Yeah.
So that was how it started, and then I took it up in high school, and then I became a Spanish major at Georgetown, and then Madrid abroad was
Very
the
cool.
last step.
Love it. The key to my heart is
the little things.
Mhm.
Stick by that.
Just caring, like sending a text. It's not that difficult, right? Like,
Mhm.
how did that interview go? How was your workout? How was this? Like, how's your dad? Like, all
Mhm.
just the small things. I think that girls ask for the small things, and I completely understand that. But I think it goes both ways.
Dating me is like
You really never know what you're gonna get.
Hilarious.
okay. A green flag I always look for.
I would say mannerisms, especially when you're first at dinner. Like, I think it's just
Like manners or
like,
mannerisms?
like not mannerisms, sorry, manners. More
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I grew up in a family that was very strict about sitting up, not sitting upright,
Mhm.
but like how you eat. And
Yeah,
if
yeah,
it's if you get
If she can't use chopsticks, is that a deal breaker?
no, it's not a deal breaker. I didn't learn how to use chopsticks till 2 years ago, so no.
Yeah, two things: just smiling, maybe humility.
I'll never shut up about.
Basketball.
My dating life.
Most chaotic dating experience I've had.
Oh,
You want the most, probably. This this was between my freshman and sophomore year of college. I went on a date on Hinge, no mutuals, of course, and we were at a place in the Upper West Side, this Italian place, Celeste, and it was going really well. Like, completely normal girl, went to high school in the city, very nice, sweet. We got along really well. We were back at my house. I thought I had a free house for that weekend. And my grandmother, who had been living with us on and off, she typically lives in Long Island, apparently decided to come home one night early. This was a Saturday night. And we were in my room. My sweet grandmother comes in my room and screams, "Myles, who the fuck is that?"
Oh my God.
And I'm like, "Sorry, Grandma." And out of nowhere behind me, this sweet girl from my date who I just met screams, "Who the fuck are you? Who do you think you are?
Stop.
Who do you think you are?"
To
And
your
I come
grandma?
to my sweet little grandma, and I had no idea what to do. I closed my door. I talked to her. Obviously, I had told her she had to leave, but that just was sort of that was the last date I
Oh
went
my
on
God. That's like a real
on these
Sex in the
apps.
City moment.
Yeah, so that was probably my craziest.
I mean, for me, is I met a girl on Raya, actually, and 10 out of 10, absolutely gorgeous, loves the same music as me, loves Cage the Elephant, Black Keys, whatever it might be, and a snowboarder as well. So she loves, she loves skiing and snowboarding, and so I thought it was going to be an amazing date. We went to Bar Pity, like, and I get there before her, waiting. She comes, she gets in, and the first hello was for me. It's not that it was. This might sound terrible to say, but it was the voice that threw me really
Oh
off guard.
God. What was it, too high or
It
too
was way
low?
too high.
Uh-huh.
It's way too high, and it was a long 2 hours, but very lovely person. But it was just a lot.
That's a
It
lot.
was a lot, yeah.
Yeah. Like an Elmo kind of voice?
Not as high, but it was I would say on the Elmo range
Yeah,
level,
yeah. It's funny. I never have had a bad voice experience with someone. I guess I've been lucky,
neither.
but
It's
I
really
did have
hard.
an experience at Bar Pity that was really bad. It was my well, I love Bar Pity, but it was my first date with a guy,
Best first
and
date spot.
yeah, it's the best. And the waiter, came over with the specials. I always get the pasta with the truffle, like the black truffle.
Yeah.
And he, was reading the specials. I wasn't really paying attention because it was my first date, whatever. And I was like, yeah, I'll do the pasta with the truffle, like the one, the tartuffe, whatever. It just so happens that it was a white truffle special that day. And also, this is a cash only spot.
Yep.
So it was a $200
Yeah,
upcharge for that pasta. So we're on the first date, and this poor man has a like $400 bill
He's
that
like,
he has
"I
to
got
pay in
this."
cash, and I felt so bad, and I didn't want to go out with him again.
Yeah.
So this is why I did this. I ran downstairs to the ATM, and I just took out 200,
some
and I was like,
cash.
please take. I never split a date before that, but I was like, I am so sorry. Like, it wasn't even worth it. The black truffle pasta is way better. Big mistake.
That happens. Yeah, the white truffle first time, and that happened to
Sneaks
me
in.
once.
Yeah, it sneaks in. You don't know. Okay. This is really interesting to me, especially as Gen Z guys. What does being a man mean to you in today's world?
I mean, for me, I think it's still the same. Like I'm a very protective person. Grew up, my older sister is literally my closest friend as well as my little sister. And so I'm a very protective person, and trust is obviously very important for me. But I think being a man is being able to, this might sound dated, but being able to take care, but also having a partner that's not, that still challenges you all the time, obviously. But I think just being protector to some degree for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say as an older brother and as like a mama's boy in a way, like I think being a man is making sure the people closest to you are at their best and their happiest and being there for them. I think that just being able to read them, right? I think even as a friend to other guys, I think that a lot of people tend to keep stuff in nowadays. I think there's a lot of pressure on the average guy our age. And just being able to read your friends, your family, your girlfriend, and be there when you need to be.
Yeah. So, Myles, you have a younger brother.
I do.
And Carter, you have sisters.
Yes.
There's been a lot of talk about how men with sisters are better than men who don't have sisters. Do you guys see a difference in each other, being friends? Carter having the sister experience and you not having that as it relates to women and things like that.
I totally think so. I think that there's even a difference. Even if you have a lot of girlfriends, it's just different than having a sister. I don't know. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes it varies because there are a lot of my guy friends who don't have sisters or the same way that I am when it comes to like how they think about women and their perspectives. But there also are a lot of people who have, older brothers or younger brothers that I think have a very skewed perspective on how they view women. So I think it's variable. That you never really it changes. But
I also think it's different between having a younger sister and an older sister. I think my friends with older sisters tend to understand things a lot earlier and are a little faster, I think. And I think that maybe there's more of an emotional intelligence that comes with having a younger sister. I think it's a little different.
I think it's a mix of both. It's like my older sister, all I wanted to, she's 4 years older than I am. And I remember growing up, I was obviously very immature because I was much younger.
Yeah.
All I wanted to do was hang out with her and her friends.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, there was no ulterior reasons why I wanted to. I just, she was my best friend. And when her friends are around, we weren't best friends anymore because her friends were there.
Right. Yeah. I also feel like and you tell me, like women can be emotional. Like we have like we go through shit. A perfect example is like my friend married to someone who doesn't have sisters. And, when they moved in together, and I can't believe I'm even saying this, but he was grossed out by tampons, which is like a crazy thing to me because it's like, that's something that you see all the time, experience all the time. Like you're unfazed by that.
I have
like
a very funny story about that.
You probably bought tampons for your sister at CVS. Like it is what it is,
Yeah, I think an early relationship helps with that as well.
Yeah.
In ninth grade, I was in a pretty serious relationship for most of high school. I was, immature at points, obviously, but deeply caring for, a girl that young makes a difference as well.
Yeah. Yeah. But like going back to like the emotional thing, like I feel like, most of the guys I dated have sisters and my husband has a sister. And I feel like a lot of the time guys who come from not having a sister are more quick to be like, you're crazy.
Is that a deal breaker for you?
No, it's not a deal breaker. But I do feel like a guy who comes from no sisters is quick to be like, oh, that girl's being crazy. But a guy who comes from sisters is like, no, she's not. She's just being, a girl. Like,
no, my sister, love her to death, is obviously a little bit crazy too. But you learn to deal. But so the story about the tampons thing is, I think I was probably around 12 years old. No idea like about really anything. She calls me into the room. She's like, Carter, come look at this. It's literally just a bloody tampon in the toilet.
Stop.
I was like, it's like, what is this?
Scarred for life. Yeah. Like my sister needs to go to the hospital immediately. Okay, so what has your experience been like on your own dating app? And are you tweaking things? Like, are you like abusing your power on there to match with people that you
Everyone asks that. I think it would be pretty cringe if like there was like some icon that said like we were like a founder of the app, or like we swipe in and say like nice app, huh? Or some stuff like that. So no, we actually don't abuse anything. Maybe give ourselves a couple more swipes here and there. But yeah, both have been on dates from the app and have went well. And yeah, I think the other side of that is just listening to user feedback. People are really happy. The most unexpected part are the people that have come with stranger-oriented dating app stories and thanking us because of them. So
yeah,
we've started to do a whole series of the different stories that we've heard.
Yeah. That's really funny.
Like I think one of my, I guess I call it one of my favorite parts, but it's learning all these different stories. I've heard some of the wildest stories that I'd never thought could actually be real.
Yeah.
Through mutual friends that have, this guy in London who does, we don't need to talk about it. And then, this crazy story in Toronto. About some guy who she met on an app and, invited him over for a movie, said his stomach hurts, and then
Oh, the poop guy?
Oh, you've heard about the poop guy?
Yeah.
Oh my
gosh.
We've
talked about him on the podcast.
Okay, I didn't know.
It's like
okay,
so as old as time.
He's like he's a known guy in London. Very known guy in London. But yeah.
Poop guy, crazy story.
Yeah.
Just a refresher for our listeners. Poop guy like makes you shit your pants so that he can like take care of you, and
he feeds you laxatives and walks you around London, which is around his place, and so let's go to a bar. Stomach starts hurting. Purposely breaks his toilet so when you use it,
so crazy.
Yeah,
so fucking crazy.
Terrible.
Okay, so what's a Gen Z thing in dating that you think is different than me dating as a millennial?
I would say that, the first answer for me would just be the inability for, like, I see it in my friends, to shoot their shot with people. Like, I think that the fear of rejection is way higher.
Why are people so scared?
I don't know. I think social media plays a part in it. I think that some people, just because of what they see on the internet and who they think they can get, and just the way that people brand themselves online, and just the comfortability with being in your home, I think has caused people to not be able to perform as well in person. So I don't know. I would say that, like, even through older cousins and older friends, like I see their friends going up to people and being way more social in person, whereas I have a younger brother and his friends, it's more centered around who your friends
like
with.
on Snapchat.
Yeah, exactly. So it's pretty sad.
Yeah, that is.
I think
sad.
also just that people are way less out there. Like, for example, on your first ever podcast, you were talking about how you met a guy out and
Yeah.
he had you on his shoulders, whatever
Yeah.
it was.
That was a fun night.
It's like, people aren't like that anymore.
Right.
And people are very reliant on their phones, social
Right.
media, and don't really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it really takes two to tango. Like, that's funny
Yeah.
that you bring that up, and good memory and good homework.
It's definitely both sides.
Yeah, because like I was out that night with a girlfriend and I literally lost her in the crowd, and I definitely was drunk. And I was like, the only way I could find her is if I went on the tallest guy's shoulder.
Yeah.
It's like, that's straight up the only way.
Yeah.
And she was like a liability. Like, she needed to be found immediately, or she was going to go home with a guy and like it was not going to end well. So I asked a guy to go on his shoulders, but like, girls have to do this kind of stuff too,
Totally. I think just everyone is more closed off. I think circles are smaller than ever. Unfortunately, like the world is so polarizing nowadays. And I think people don't want to be around people that don't think, speak, look like them. You always have your guard up.
Mm-hmm.
You're always questioning sort of pessimistically who that person on the other side, whether they're hitting up you in person or online is. Yeah.
Has being founders of this app made you guys less afraid of rejection?
Totally. I mean, I just becoming like an influencer, like my friends joke, like you were the last person who would have ever started making, TikToks. Of course, I try to keep them as least cringy as possible. And I'm just speaking about the app. But yeah, I think just starting a company in general and being forward facing while a lot of friends are taking the more corporate route, you kind of have to let everything go.
Yeah.
I think for me, I've always been very out there and talkative, and I love learning about new people, their stories, and just meeting random people at bars because those are always the best nights. But I've, obviously one of the reasons that this was created too was because you realize that there's this fear factor with people, and I notice it in a lot of my friends who, when we go out, they're scared to talk to a group of girls. They just stay back. They need someone to go and initiate before.
So crazy because like as a girl, I'm like, that's all we want is to be spoken to.
Right. I think this is something my friends and I were speaking about the other day is like the female version of like saying I'm interested in you nowadays is like that eye contact that's 1 second longer. And I went, it's funny, I was in a room full of like 10 of my guy friends and girlfriends, and we went through and we like, would you notice this?
Right.
And of course, all
like
the
the
girls
subtle
were like,
signs
of
or
course.
whatever.
Yeah, exactly. This is as clear as day.
Yeah.
Like this is me shooting my shot.
Right.
And every guy was like, I would not bat an eye to that.
So crazy. I have said before on this podcast, if a man looks at you, he's interested. Like straight up looks at you.
Yeah.
Like if he
So it goes
texts
both
you,
ways.
oh my God, he's like trying to marry
Yes.
you. But if he looks at you, he's interested.
The text from the guy perspective is very clear.
Yeah.
Like if you're going out of your way to start a conversation, it
Right.
does not seem like there's any reason to start it. It's very clear
Right.
what-
But actually, and I want you to like analyze this. One of the cousins I mentioned is like in a text thing kind of back and forth with this guy, but and I don't know, maybe this is a your age thing, but he's like, what are you up to this weekend? And for me, I'm like, fuck no. Like he's asking her that on a Friday to like go out with her, but he should be like, what are you up to next week? I'd love to take you out.
Totally.
Like it should be more formal,
Totally.
but could a guy still like you as much if he's asking that Friday?
I don't think so. Also, there
Yeah.
needs to be a dialogue like during the week.
Right.
I get that everyone's busy and stuff, but like my best experiences are should be able to carry a conversation
Right.
through a week and not just plan a date out 6 days in advance.
Yeah.
Send each other a couple of texts here or there and call it a day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think if you're texting on a Thursday or a Friday for that weekend, it's probably not the best sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, girls, because they probably already have their plans and what they're doing. And I think one of the biggest things that I've noticed, especially if there's a girl that I'm into, it's better to plan way in advance
Right.
because you never really know what their week looks like, what's going to happen.
There's two sides of that though. Like, and I think the average guy our age, because of how these dating apps work, think that the girl on the other side is talking to 10 guys for every, girl that the guy is talking to. And that's not because of the girl, that's at a fault for any reason. It's just simply you look at the apps for the average like that one guy receives.
Right.
The girl on the other side receives 6 to 10.
Yeah.
Right. So you're just receiving a lot more because of the split on the apps, right? Like the average app has 70 to 90% women,
Right.
70 to 90% men,
Yeah.
leaving 10 to 15% women. Women are more limiting the likes they give out because
Right.
they care more about the person. It skews everything.
Sounds like guys need to be more confident, you
It
know?
does.
But also, if he's texting her on a Thursday, Friday about what's going on, it seems there might be there could be
I
ulterior
agree
motive.
with you. I
don't know.
fully, yeah.
Totally.
No, I couldn't agree
It's
more. I don't
it's on
like
the
that
fault
shit.
of the guy.
So I have to ask because most of my listeners, or at least like, you know, a lot of my listeners are closer to my age, and I know I'm going to get a million DMs. Would you guys date an older woman?
Totally.
I do have a track record, not of dating, but situationships with older women.
How much older are we talking?
Well, what's the oldest that you guys have dated?
Not
or hooked
dated,
up
but
with?
saw for me like 31.
Okay. That's still so young to me.
Yeah, no, so not that high for me. Only 4 or 5 years old.
Okay. Okay. What would you take an older woman seriously that you're dating, or do you want to stay in the situationship kind of place if you had dated an older woman?
Well, no, I mean, it not the situation. It's just sometimes it just doesn't really click. Because I'm into different things. It's you have a fun time. You always go out, like you go out together. You have a fun time.
Especially when you're in school. I mean,
Yeah, I was
recently
also
graduating.
I just
Right.
graduated
Tough to,
from
like,
USC. So
really
it's-
think that's a path
No, you
forward.
can't do that in
Maybe
school.
maybe now that we're
yeah,
real life has hit us, but
Yeah.
no,
When-
more situationship for
When
sure.
I was a senior, I went to BU, and when I was a senior, there's like this thing at BU known as like BU goggles, because like none of the guys are cute, but like all the girls are. And so it's like really slim pickings. And so there were literally no guys to date. And so I ended up dating a sophomore, which is like, for me, so much younger. Like
Interesting.
2 years was a big deal back then. And I ended up really liking him. And then when I graduated, I was like, fuck, I can't date
Yeah,
someone
what
that's
do
in
we do?
college. Like, this is such a bad look. This is terrible. But I liked him. And so I was like, I don't really know what to do. Like, I'm not trying to end it. And so I dated him when he went abroad.
That's
Oh,
Guys,
no.
it was horrible.
That's hilarious.
It obviously crashed and burned, but I was like, what am I doing?
But you kind of see that. I see that in a couple of friends.
Yeah.
It's funny. My dad went to BU.
Oh, that's
I
so
know
funny.
all about
Yeah.
a lot of BU crazy stories.
Yeah.
He did talk about that though.
Well, I mean, I'm sure your dad must have
dad
been
had a
like
f-
the
my dad
catch
had-
of the century.
My dad had a great time.
Yeah. Well, I think BU also like used to be different. I feel like now it's like, I don't know, you know, that's not true. There's some cute guys. There's like the hockey guys, you know.
Would you ever bring your kids to BU?
Maybe, but my husband is more of like an Ivy Leaguer,
Okay,
so
fair.
I think he has more high hopes.
Okay. fair enough.
But nothing wrong with BU. It's a great school, so we'll see. We'll see how they do in school. We'll see if they have my work ethic or my husband.
Where did your husband go to school?
He went to Cornell,
Okay, awesome.
but yeah, he's a smart. He's like a A's across the board. I was more of like a one semester I made honor roll, which
Totally.
was exciting for my family.
You're talking to a Spanish major.
Yeah,
It was,
yeah.
yeah. We enjoying school is the priority.
Yeah. Okay. So I just want to see how we are on time. Okay. So usually we'll end the episode with a quote or piece of advice, but to me, you guys are still babies. So what I want to know is the best piece of advice that you received from your parents about dating.
I would say drop all standards. You know, you don't know who and what that person will be. The personality can run with it the entire way, and just talk to everyone.
So like, does it matter what they look like?
It doesn't
or where
matter what they
they're
look like,
from?
and I've already experienced that. When I'm
Mhm.
more open with someone, I don't judge, especially in person when you can get a good read on them. It's harder on these dating apps, but just dropping, like just going with the flow and dating and feeling comfortable dating and talking to as many people as possible.
Love it.
I think for my mom, just basically, especially after the first relationship, she was just find someone that loves you for you, because you're the most special person to me. And if they can't see it like I see you, then they're not deserving of it.
She's so right. Oh, it's making me emotional with my son. I'm like, I need to give him some good dating advice. Thank you guys so much. Where can everyone find you both on social? Find Cerca, download it, all of the things.
Totally, yeah. Cerca Dating on Instagram, the same thing in the App Store. Myles Sladen on Instagram.
Yeah, Carter Rocket on Instagram, Circa Dating.
Is Rocket your last name?
Yeah, so I have two last names, but
Uh-huh.
so it's Carter Rocket Monk.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's a good last
it's
name.
been it was a long kind of transition, because sometimes we're monk somewhere, sometimes we're rocket monk. So it's
But like, if you get married, your wife will just take Rocket.
she'll just take monk.
Oh, okay. What if she wants Rocket?
It's unfortunate. I'm sorry.
Well, thank you so much for
Yeah,
having
thank
us.
you
Thank
guys
you
for
so
coming
much,
on.
yes.
This was so fun.
Thank you.